Welcome to Beyond the Boundary and Across the Line production, where sports, media, and culture don't just intersect, they shape what's coming next. And in the world full of aggregators, let's be an architect.
Woo!
Yes.
Spot on.
It's fun to talk to two of my co-hosts in the same ATL BTL circle that we are apart from. And it's great to have you here, Natasha and Ashna, before I start calling her Aashu. So
Okay.
So just to introduce as a formal thing, right? I've become the host right now, so just to introduce formally.
Fair enough.
Cricket has been more than just a game for these two ladies, and it's been their compass, it's been a classroom, it's their community. Talk about Natasha in 2007. She was fortunate to help the UAE women's national team, a milestone that shaped how she sees sports, not just as a competition, but as a catalyst of people to progress. And since beyond playing, she's been very engrossed with grassroots programs, managing tournaments behind the scene, in front of the scene, mentor next generation of women. And when it comes to Aashu, she has played obviously as a women cricketer for UAE along with Natasha, but moved on to something very interesting after retirement called playing with the data. So we are talking about two girls, women, ladies, how do you want to call it? I leave it to them.
Women.
But women, yes. Okay, let's go with it. So we're talking to two women who have playing a different role when it comes to the sport that they love called cricket, sport that shaped their life. That sport is cricket. One is on the team side, grassroots side, management side, behind the scene, in front of the scene, everywhere. That Natasha, and a lot of things making that sport interesting is Aashu or the data, because we know everything, right? The data cannot lie, and no decision is taken without data. And a player herself getting to interpret the data as the decision support system for the coach and the team. I think what's more that anybody can expect. So let's welcome the super women who are playing beyond the cricket pitch, Natasha and Aashu.
Hey, Sid, thank you for that introduction. Love it.
That's great.
No,
That was great. Thank you.
You're way too kind.
Yeah, really.
Can I not be kind when I'm actually sitting with two women here and who are the powerhouses? So it's
No, we
and it is not
appreciate
fake. It is something just coming from within, right? It's the way we look at things. It's the way we have seen wo khoob ladi mardani wo to jhansi wali rani, those kind of things, right? It is, you don't give up. The resilience is differently when you are on the pitch, off the pitch. Even if whenever we are working in the school to college, every time we always knew that one girl in our group who will make sure that the boys and the whole group is together. They will make sure that all the notes are taken for you to study well. Still make sure that everything is done. So it is that phase from mother to sister to wife, daughter, friend, everything that role is different, right?
Yeah.
So it's amazing. It's great to have you both here.
I think great to see you. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for having us. And
You know, and next time, one of you can become host and praise about me as well. But right now, it's my time.
Sure. So, but no, I just wanted to mention something. I think the one thing I tell myself every day, like look in the mirror and tell myself every day, is there's nothing that a woman can't do. So keep going.
Yeah. And I know, no
100%.
question asked. No question asked. It's perfectly fine.
100%.
That is how it is.
And what you said as well, Sid, like it stuck with me because of the way you said that resilience. And I think that comes with a lot of athletes, like whoever has grown up playing sport, no matter what life throws at you, you still manage to keep fighting, keep coming out of it, finding solutions. I think we're able to find solutions even even when you're backed up in a corner and you don't know how to go forward. I think that resilience comes. I think a lot of athletes can resonate with that because you keep fighting, right? You know, and in your game, if it's a team sport, especially, and even more harder if it's a game that you play solo, where it's just you against the world. I think that resilience comes with playing for sure.
And that's it's the resilience and also the way of the pride that you have when see it is there a lot of people are unfortunate in the current world talk about a pseudo pride, about the pseudo patriotism, but when you actually wear a jersey of your country that you represent, the pride
Yeah.
hits differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I think probably it's you always play for, like, you both played for UAE, but whenever I'm talking to athletes on my podcast, I have interviewed more than 150 Olympians. They always say that we just play for Tiranga, nothing else.
Mm.
For that's there's nothing beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is how you look at it, and I think that is what our lives have been shaped with that amazing field.
Yeah.
We have learned so many things on the pitch, on the ground, not in the classroom. So
Yeah.
sports is the greatest teacher, and your court is the greatest classroom that we ever got, right? So we are
Yeah.
privileged to
Yeah.
call that our classroom.
Yeah.
100%.
For
Yeah.
sure. No,
Okay, so
100%.
after so much of philosophical thing, let's start about the fun part of it. It's about having a chat with the both of you. So I'll start with Natasha, because Natasha
Please
started in
do.
2007 and you started in 2008. So I'll give her a seniority of 1 year. So
Please do. Please
yeah,
do.
so Natasha, it's like you started playing cricket when women's cricket in UAE was barely visible. Uh, did did you think that it was just a phase that nobody knows about it, or it is something that you feel that there was no visibility overall? So how did you actually enter that area? Let's start about that. Some backstory.
I think now what I'm about to say is going to reveal my age, but I was just 12, right? When we formed the UAE team, right? And we would, and at that point, when I got that call, because how it worked was we were literally just, I think, 14 or 15 girls playing. And that was it. There was no selection. That was the team because those were the only number of girls who were playing. So we had a school tournament. It was an inter-school six-a-side tournament where we suddenly were like, oh, there are all these girls playing. We didn't know because I was playing with boys. And I remember I used to play at the Sharjah Cricket Stadium. And my coach at that time, Shehzad Altaf, had to get special permissions just to get me to play because I was playing with boys. And back then it was, kind of a big deal. So I think for me at that particular time, at that age, I had no visibility or um, almost like a foresight of, oh, it's a phase or it's not going anywhere because I didn't know what I was building at that time. I was too small. Although I'd been given this cap of responsibility of leading a side and going to Malaysia and all of that, for me at that point, it was just, oh my God, I love this sport and I get to play at this level and I'm getting to play with girls because that was something I never had. I was playing with boys who were, bless them. They were really sweet. They were encouraging, but there was still oh, you got out to a girl's ball, right? So that thing was always there. But I think over time, um, that changed. So I think more than a lack of visibility, it was surprise. It was genuine excitement that I get to be part of a team that you're representing a country at the age of 12. You're captaining when I don't think people realize that there were older women in the squad. So there were 30-year-old, there were 25-year-olds, but yet they still made a 12-year-old captain. I still don't know why.
Hey,
I
they
still
identified the right talent. That's
Yes.
so that's
That we call LTAD, long term athlete development.
That's it.
yeah, for sure. They definitely invested in the future, I would say.
100%.
But I think I just feel very lucky to have been given that responsibility because I feel like I grew up 10 times faster as well, just in life. So I think back then, more than visibility and lack of it being a phase and things like that, I think for me it was, ooh, this is very exciting. What can we do from here? Like, how do we build this? Yeah.
Yeah. A 12-year talking about how do we build this is it's unreal. But I think as you said, right, you grew up playing with the boys, and it was and then got to play with actually the girls team, which gives that kind of thing. But how was it? It was while growing up, was it Natasha was a serious competitor or a complete a gully cricket kind of chaos?
It was, I'm not competitive at all, right? So my competitiveness on the field is just play your game. If they're being aggressive towards you, I'll let the bat and the ball be talking. That's just been my philosophy, like growing up. So I've never been the kind to, talk back or give it back or sledge. It just doesn't come naturally for me. I remember that.
Oh,
example.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. It's how
I
can that
promise
be?
you. I
Honestly,
promise you. I
yeah,
promise.
this is not a hype session. I cannot agree more. Like even now, I mean, now obviously,
See,
she's a
now it's
lot
different.
older.
Now it's different.
Yeah,
But
but it was never the case. Literally never the case.
Yeah.
okay.
And
I was gonna say she can probably vouch for it, but she did.
yeah,
No, I'll give you an example. So we were playing against Qatar. It was a GCC championship, and I was batting, and I have a really nice cover drive, right? And my force kept going from that region. So the Qatari captain at the time decided, okay, let's bring someone right in her face and make her stand at like a short cover position, just to scare her a bit. And that girl wouldn't stop talking. The amount, I still remember the chatter in my head, which I won't actually say, but there was so much happening. And they knew because I was young and she was much older. And I remember whether it was on purpose or not, again, it was just my cover drive. I whacked it straight into her and not out of any sort of malice. It wasn't a thing. And then she just like went like, okay, I'm going to move back now. So they moved back. So there was, again, when it comes down to on the field stuff, I will just let the bat and ball do the talking and leave it at that.
So you showed that okay, यहाँ पे एक ही गुंडी हो सकती है और वो मैं थी.
I guess you could say that with the bat and ball.
I wouldn't phrase it as Gundi. She was far
See,
from that.
but with the bat and ball. I'm saying with
Very
the bat and ball.
poised Gundi. How about let's put it that way.
Because I know a lot of people have said that if you meet me for the first time, I can come off as very intimidating. But the second you start talking to me, you realize that, okay, she's fine, she's chill. But I think for the lack of a better word, I have a resting bitch face. So when people see you for the first time, there's that automatic thing that, oh, she's scary. She doesn't want to, associate or talk with people. But I think once you get to know me a bit, I'm the complete opposite.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
the devil wear Prada kind of look.
Yeah.
So again, just going back to that, it's very tough to accept. Like we see Suryavanshi right now, a 15-year-old doing crazy things. It's the youth, and I think it just shows the fearlessness. They don't worry about what's next. There is, but that male ecosystem is very differently built. So you find one Suryavanshi in probably 20 years. Like last time we saw somebody that was 87 when Sachin Tendulkar came. We are not seeing anybody like that. Virat also matured after 22, 23, but not as a 16-year-old. He's 15. And when we see somebody like that has a backing, but you are a 12-year-old, 13-year-old as a captain with have no idea what backing means, what the professionalism means, what all those things. Was it terrifying or it was just a day as usual for you?
I would have to say the latter. It was just another day because, again, growing up, we didn't know the possibilities of what could be. So we didn't have a lot of women's cricket shown on TV either. So obviously we'd heard the first female cricketer I had an interaction with was our first two coaches, who were Smitha Harikrishna and Pramila Bhatt, both who are former India cricketers. And my aunt is Mamta Meben, who played for India as well. So those were my associations of what women cricketers are, and I didn't know anyone else beyond that up to a certain point. So I didn't know, that whole thing, right? Like aim for the stars, you reach the moon. Like I didn't know what the stars were. I didn't know what that was. So for me, it was just, oh, we're playing cricket. Let's just see how this goes. I'm playing with my best friends because at some point, because you're the only women in the country playing, you become so close and the bond is still there. Like Aashu and I are a testament to that. But so many of us who are still in the sport are still the closest of friends. Like I have friends all over the world now because of that core UAE team, and I know I can reach out to them for anything at some point. So it was not, there was no fear of what's happening or whether we'd get the backing, because at some point you realize this is all you will get and you have to make a decision whether you want to continue playing with the resources you have or you want to take another route. And thankfully I was privileged enough to have a family who could let me play till I could. But that's not the case for everyone. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
I just want to add something there, even though this is Nat's section, but that's just
No, please.
No, this is I'm going to just keep quiet. Only if I'm allowed to ask question, I'll ask question.
No, but I just wanted to say it runs in the blood. It absolutely does. And I actually want her to mention about her great grandfather. So The floor is all yours.
Yeah, so I recently found out that my great-grandfather from my mom's side, he actually has an ESPN Cricket Info page, which I had no idea about. He was the one who started the Cannery Cricket Club way back in the day. Um, like that's where Karnataka cricket sort of like flew out from as well to some extent. But yeah, so the lineage is there. I grew up watching the sport all my life. I mean, we are a very like you and your family said, we watch all sports kind of family, especially the Olympics, Paralympics, FIFA World Cups. We'll be awake at like 4 a.m. now for the FIFA World Cup coming up just to watch these games. Like we don't
Yes.
follow club football, but we follow everything else and in between. Like anything's going on, we'd want to know. Especially, I remember when the Winter Olympics were going on and curling was going on. We had no idea what was happening on screen, and we were just watching and then Googling, what does this even mean, right? So we love sports. So our family, like at home, if I'm with mom and dad right now, because they've moved back to Bangalore, the TV will be on with some sport going on. Most likely cricket, but some sport will be going on. If I'm at home for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think Aashu, you took the right point about we kind of get a background about
It's in the
where
genes.
it's in the genes, and she made it look awesome. So and that is how it is, and the sports runs in the blood. I know it's something you can't make a facade out of it. It is you can't just fake it till you make it kind of thing when it comes to watching sport. You have to feel so passionate. It has to be as an environment. As I said in my house, so that's why we have 3 different televisions. One is playing only football for my son, where other one is playing all the sports all the time, whatever is happening every time. And at one side is only National Geography, Animal Planet.
Yeah.
So, but this is how it is. Like the it's the environment that comes in, because we see all the time, whatever happens, nothing negative comes out when you're watching sport. The best part, even if you lose, you're not a loser. That's the best part.
Yeah.
So and when you talk about these kind of legacy and the lineage and the bloodline and everything now, just when was did you understand that you're 12 or 13 or say 15? When did you actually understand this is no longer a hobby? This is actually something is becoming my identity now. When did that become your identity?
This is rather embarrassing, but I'd rather get it out of the way because it is out there. Our first tournament, we flew to Malaysia. So at that time, because we're associate nations, we played under Asian Cricket Council. It wasn't the ICC. So ACC used to have a lot of tournaments for us. So we used to go to Southeast Asia, play Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, etc. But our first ever match was against Bangladesh. This is my first match as a captain, walking out on the field. And this is a well-seasoned team, right? They've played on a higher level than any of us. I kid you not, Sid. That day, I realized how important identity is going to be from now onwards, because we got 9 all out. Okay? We were 9 all out. That was my first game as captain, first game representing the UAE, 9 all out. And don't get me wrong, I still remember after that the way the management took care of us, even though it was our first time. Right? I think that speaks volumes of how that shaped us as people, as cricketers going forward, because that was horrifyingly embarrassing, right? First time doing all of this and just completely not knowing in which direction this is going to go. Because at that point, you're thinking, okay, we've hit such a low mark. We can't go lower than this, right? That is your pitch. So now you face that, and then we took off from there. And now you look at us 15 years down the line, we're ranked number 14 in the world, and there's been that growth spurt, right? So I think I was hit with failure after failure after failure in a lot of wings of my life, that it became such a routine aspect where I would expect failure, but then I would get success and it would be such a surprise because I would just work hard. And I truly tell people that talent can take you so much, but it's your hard work and discipline that will overshoot that, right? So that is something that stays at the core of who I am, where if you work hard, forget the results. The results are not a controllable. What's in your control is how you work hard and how you show up for your team no matter what's going on.
Yeah, there's a very cliche line which I really love from what Sachin had once mentioned is Tendulkar. It's about life throws stones, you convert to milestones. I think yeah, it is how it is, right? It's every time something hits you, you know how you want to because yeah, 9 is a question, but after and please tell me you scored 8 out of that. But if not, then
I
it's
scored
fine.
3. I was the highest, so I scored 3. So I'm very proud of that. Well,
Yeah. See now. See, this is what sports teaches
One
us. You
third
look
the
at the
score.
exactly. You talk about the positives coming out of it, right? At the end of the game, a anchor never asks what was the negative of the game. Everybody
Yep.
asks what was the positive you got of the game, and the
Yep.
captain speaks about the positives out of the game. And this is how you look at it, right? So this is a very interesting story, and I think you touched upon one point which I was going to ask later, but I think I need Ashu is very eager to get into it now
No,
about what.
no.
No, I'm just
I
kidding.
can
I'm just kidding.
listen to Nat speaking all day.
Yeah, but I think this might go for both of you. It's because you both grew up in the associate nation, and it's not easy, and we have seen that part of it. Forget women cricket, which is kind of a flourishing in last few years, probably a decade right now. But even for men's cricket, the associate wasn't something which was a glorious story. It was just it was a kind of a tick mark. It was a
Yeah.
checklist. So
Yeah.
growing up in associate, did you ever feel that you have to prove little more all the time? Like we always talk about the girl doing some work, she has to always in the office, corporate world, also have to always take an extra side of proving herself a little bit more. Unfortunately, kind of environment that we grew up in. But as now, I'm not talking about girl, I'm talking about associate nation. Do you always felt that whenever you were on the field, you actually had to prove little bit more and always please the set the benchmark differently?
Sure, I'll let you take this one. Go for it.
I mean,
And I don't want you to talk from the data right now. Talk as a cricketer.
no, absolutely, right? See, that's what I am first. First and foremost, I'm a cricketer. Everything else follows. See, honestly, that's the struggle nobody sees. And I think that's also the reason us girls growing up, it was our bonding period, right? And after that, we've not lost sight of each other. And again, Nats and I are a testament to that. But going back to your question, right? At least for us, it wasn't a box to tick per se. It was more about this is what we bring to the table, and we want to continue that irrespective of who's spotting us, who's recognizing our talent. Of course, if that happens, that's again, that's the outcome. For us, it was more about the input. And that's what kept us going through and through. And, she can, again, Nats can step into this because, she was literally the first captain, right, ever for the UAE. And that build up when it comes to associate cricket and nations that participate even now, that perspective still is quite invisible to a very large degree. So the stories that were meant to be told even at a certain time were never told. And that's it's a learning for us because years down the line what's changed is a different kind of win. And if it makes us happy in any capacity to be like, in whatever way we could, we set that path, then I think that's the biggest win.
Yeah.
I think it's
No, for sure. And just
Are you tearing up?
no, I'm just it feels heavy. No, believe me, it feels heavy. It's as a boy grew up in India, I don't. It's very tough to associate with this. Though I played I played cricket at little competitive level, not at that. I played till under 16 Mumbai kind of thing. But my sport was badminton, and in 90s, 92 badminton came into Olympic for the first time. Till then, before that, Prakash Padukone had already become the all England champion, right? So we we looked at the sport differently, but we didn't know we are always considered a minority as a badminton as a sport. So we had to prove something different all the time. What are we doing? How are we seen? And there was nobody to tell us.
Right.
So that's what I said. When you're talking about it, I just took a different side to it. It hit differently.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
what, right? Like for us as well, like as a unit of girls, we never needed to convince each other. We always looked at each other and went like, okay, you know what? Someone's got to do it, so it might as well be us.
Yes.
And if, like, obviously hindsight's a great thing, we look at it now and we're super ecstatic for what the girls and the women out there have achieved, ODI status, playing against great subcontinent teams, the likes of India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. And see, that's no small feat, right? Even though we faced Bangladesh and that was a traumatic experience, to see how far cricket has grown is a win in itself, irrespective of however involved we are in any capacity, in no capacity. It's still close to the heart. So,
and at that time, we don't really, like you mentioned earlier, Sid, as well, did we have foresight? We didn't. We didn't think what would this look like 10 to 15 years down the line, right? At that point, when we talk about associate members as a whole, both men and women, there were no eyeballs. Now you've got social media, which is such a powerful tool, which you look at. Even the UAE men's team, for that matter, have played T20 World Cups, have driven that force again. Not to say that, again, I don't want to draw comparisons here, but there is obviously a different kind of funding stream for both, because obviously the board manages how the money is channeled in, and it is a business at the end of the day. So I'll never take away from that. They will invest more where there's more ROI, and that's a fair shout. I wouldn't say no to that. But at the same time, you can see that with whatever resources we did have as the women's team, to make it to an almost same sort of level with just that is incredible. And I think that status of being an associate member, there's some kind of pride attached to it as well, because when you look at the full member nations, right, and the funding that they get is completely different, and they have those opportunities to be able to invest in themselves and only play the sport. But here we had, on a given day when I'd grown up and I started working, I would work 9 to 7, and then practice would be from 8 to 11, and that was 4 times a week for me. That was my life. And at some point, you have to take a call whether you want to keep playing or you have to stop, because it gets too much on your body to handle. You're 50-50. You're not sleeping well. You're not recovering enough. You're not being able to do the whole thing that an athlete is supposed to do. So it reflects in both your work field. It reflects on the field. And that's the sad part, where you wish, at least for me, that not regret, but the sadness that's attached with my memory of playing the game for UAE is you just wishing there was a little bit more, that you could have played a little bit longer, you could have stayed a bit longer, you could have played a bit better if you had a bit more, to offer. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I think we'll always love being associated with the associate team.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think, I think it just speaks because the foundation was built with both of you coming there. The foundation was built, and it has come to a level where, honestly, it wasn't expected. It was anticipated or wanted, but not expected. So that is how we look at the growth. And I think kudos to you, both of you. It played a proper foundation role to make things few happen. And it's always good to call ourselves a pioneer in doing something, right? It's like it's the first is always the first.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, the first is always the first. So uh, I think coming to Aashu here, it's you spoke about the legacy and everything in the genes for Natasha. How did it happen to you when you started playing it? Was it also the genes? I don't know the thing, but because obviously we didn't know the legacy that Natasha carries. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was it also part of the genes, or it was how did it actually start?
Yeah. Like I didn't have any such legacy, incomparable. But yeah, a little bit in the genes for sure. My brother was a very good all-rounder growing up, a bowling all-rounder, excellent leg spinner at the time. And even in the male ecosystem, even in the UAE, it was never easy. But my parents didn't have the resources at the time to send him for different kinds of training or, uh, physiotherapy or like anything that the body requires, given, any sport takes a toll on your body, right? And he was actually called for a camp in South Africa. And, he came home ecstatic. And I still remember him telling me the story because I was very young. And he was like, my mom and dad just looked at each other, our mom and dad rather. Uh, they just looked at each other and looked at him and they were like, yeah, good on you, but not happening. Sorry, we don't have the resources. So when it comes to me, I was very lucky from the get-go. I didn't really have to fight a battle at home, which meant, I could put all my energy into the sport. Um, and I think, a lot of girls from the team can resonate with that to an extent, but some of them can't necessarily say that either. Uh, and I think that's really stuck with me because, you make what you can out of the bare minimum. And even X amount of years down the line, you can never really leave the dugout behind. So yeah, that's my minor legacy. I wouldn't even term it as legacy, but yeah.
Minor at all.
No, so that's no, it's not minor, obviously, for sure. It's the opportunity you do, as I said, right? Everything is there. There is a free will, but there is something called destiny.
Yeah.
It's we don't know what plays role where.
Yeah. And my brother pushed me all throughout. He would like wake up at 6 a.m. He'd be up before me and he'd be like, let's go. Listen, you have practice at 7 a.m. What are you doing? Why are you still in bed? He would drive all the way to Sharjah because, it's two separate Emirates. And yeah, like, I can never be grateful and thankful enough because definitely had that backing. And, as the younger child, you always do. I'm speaking to two older kids here. But yeah, you guys are the lab rats and we get to juice out all the benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you're hitting a different nerve here. But yeah, let's go with your story right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but so you also played in the similar era along with Natasha, and she had her own story of being the first captain and the young age captain. All this. You were a teammate and building that story. So you were having your own dream related to the country dream, but at the same time, your mate is actually the captain, and we need to make everything look so good and make it best of our ability. Nobody's saying that. So how did that story grew up? Because you will have your own ways. The way she had her side of 9 all out, I'm sure you had your own ways of ups and downs. So when did the cricket stop being just cricket and just become your life?
I think, see, I resonated with the sport from a very young age. But obviously, right, like when you get into the ecosystem of whatever the grassroots were in the UAE at the time. So, we were scouted through our school system. And like Nat's already mentioned, it was a group of 15 to 20. So without discrediting ourselves, there wasn't a lot of competition that we went through, right? But yeah, for me from the get-go, like somewhere between putting on the UAE jersey for the first time and even realizing that, there were girls who'd never seen something like that. And, they'd never pictured themselves on a cricket field. And again, we were practicing at an iconic stadium, like Sharjah Stadium, right? So it wasn't just about representing a country. We were also constantly fighting a battle and making the argument that we need to give UAE and just associate nations cricket the credit that it deserves. And we want to show up irrespective of what we're getting out of it. And I think that's personally one thing that people potentially misunderstand about players from the associate nations. That, oh, you know what? Maybe because they don't have the resources, they're not as passionate, not as serious. But yeah, seriousness doesn't come with what's given to you. It's what's instilled, right? So, yeah.
No, so yeah, I think it just makes a lot of sense. But again, both of you, right? You were pretty young when you actually took a retirement. So it's not some way the a lot of time that is usually the peak that starts going up when you actually decide to hang your boots. And for both of you, almost on the same line. So why did that decision happen? Because you saw that you got the UAE cricket to a certain level, and now this is the time for us to. Natasha, you mentioned like I could have stayed some time back, some more, some longer, sometime longer. All those things were there. But what was the decision to hang up your boots when you actually took it from 0 to 1, but now it was time to take it to 1 to 100?
I think it got to a stage where, again, it was the lack of not having a contract, that security of, okay, I can rely on this to, you know, feed my family, feed myself, have a roof over my head, sort of thing. Um, and when I saw the opportunities that lay within the sports industry itself, especially in cricket, that I was fortunate enough to get into that system, I was like, okay, I can now be in a position where I make the pathway easier for the next generation. So I can my sort of priorities in life flipped, because at that particular stage where my last tournament was, I think, 2022 or 2023 Asia Cup. That was my last tournament that I played. And I felt really glad that I could, because, I was playing against India and some of my former teammates from Karnataka. So all of that was there. And there was an excitement that you got to play at that level. It felt like the right time, because I could also see the next gen sort of taking responsibility to now take UAE cricket to the next level. And it just felt fair. And I could feel it, where I couldn't give 100% of the game because I was also working. And it wasn't fair for me to just stay on because I had a legacy, or because I've started the game XY years ago. But it felt like, and I don't have any regrets about doing that, because now I feel like my priority is to make pathways easier for the next gen of women cricketers. And that's okay with me. Like, do I miss playing? I'll always miss playing. You give me a bat and a ball and you say, come, let's play. I will go. I will go any given time of the day. Even if it's 40 degrees outside, I'll go and play. But do I want to play at that level where I wear the UAE jersey again? I'm probably at this stage not fit enough, not good enough, because the next gen have come through. They've got the resources now. They've got the coaching. They're getting the franchise leagues that they get to play in, and they deserve to be in that spot. So if I'm able to somehow miraculously in the next 8 months train, get fit, come back, then I'll be happy to actually go for a trial and be like, hey, can I actually try out for the squad? But I wouldn't want an easy loop just back into the squad because I, started it or whatever. But that hanging up the boots part was obviously, again, I had to make a decision where I was like, okay, if I decide to only play, that will be my only income, which wasn't sustainable for me personally. So that's pretty
Yeah.
much the decision. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to add something to what Nat said, right? As cheesy as this may sound, but we were literally funding our own dreams, if so to speak. We didn't have any central contracts. We didn't have any guaranteed selection pathways. We were just people that loved the game, and we were committed enough to show up either way. And it takes a toll on you mentally as well, right? And I don't think mental health is spoken about enough. It's obviously grown so much, but it's not spoken enough about how it impacts athletes, because it's never easy to leave a sport behind, right? And we're grateful and thankful that we're still associated with cricket. And personally for me, and I can speak for Nats a little bit here, we wouldn't want that to change ever. But yeah, you hit a point in your life where you're like, I can't live off my parents, right? And call a spade a spade. We're not making money out of representing the UAE. We're doing it because we love the sport. But that will only last so long. And I mean, in terms of, making money out of it. Will we ever stop loving the sport? No.
I think this brings to a different discussion, because now you both are into the next line after playing, right? It is about administration, it's about the data analytics, presenting, all those things, and that's where you're making a career. So when when you look at, so I'm also I do a lot of work on sports education. So I'm a director of there's a big university in India called Symbiosis International University.
Oh, yeah,
So
of course. In
so I'm a
Pune.
director
Yeah,
of
yeah.
in Pune. So I'm the director of Symbiosis School of Sports Science. I founded MBA Sports Management, BSc Sports Science in Symbiosis.
Awesome.
So I also play that a role of an educator, and we get to see a lot of the fundamental of starting this course is to give a pathway to athlete beyond their playing career. And this is something, a story that resonates with you both, because okay, can I continue to do this? Because even what you spoke about UAE model 3-4 years back, probably till 6 years back, 8 years back, India was almost on the same line. Indian women cricket. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was better, obviously
Yeah,
far
of
better.
course. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it was not a thing which was the commercial making commercial sense for a lot of people. Till 2015, it wasn't making commercial sense as well. Because I've spoken to Mithali, I've spoken to Anjum, all those people. Right? They have played the role of just carrying it along, and the lot of things change with Smriti, Jamie, and Harman coming into the picture. A lot of things change. Uh, but and they start seeing the commercial viability of all those things. So that's why the education plays. It's very important for you to understand when you actually pull the plug on something, because otherwise, when you're passionate about something, it's very easy to just drag on, and we don't know what actually hits, and then it hits you differently. What have I done?
Yep.
So it's kudos to you. Honestly speaking, is taking that call is not easy, but a professional athlete taking that call is very important, because it hurts the financial part, the emotional part, the social part. A lot of things hurt, and people don't know what is. Everybody sees that okay, you're wearing a country jersey, you're wearing a flag, you're carrying a flag and playing, but what happens behind the scene is only you know.
Yep. Yep.
So I don't want to call it a coaching session, but something that really will resonate with the young girls who wants to have that career, who wants to do something about it. What do you call that struggle which happens when nobody's watching you?
That's all yours.
Life. It's just life.
The poetic side of Nats is coming out.
It's honestly, and I think every time I've talked to the current cricketers of UAE, whoever else that I've had the opportunity to speak with, it's always been about play the sport because you love it. That's first and foremost. And when you enjoy something, it'll reflect in your game. If you don't enjoy it, that'll also reflect in your game. So I think first and foremost, ask yourself the question, do you enjoy what you're doing? If the tick box is in the yes column, then that's one job well done. The second question is, are you playing for yourself? Are you playing for someone else? If you feel like there's pressure, external pressures from family or friends or whoever else that, play the sport because, we want you to play, then that's not the right idea as well. You need to be able to love it for yourself. And then the next thing about not being seen, it's okay. Because when you're not, there's also a certain pressure that comes with being seen, right? And if you've never had that growing up, that can add its own set of complications. Because again, like you said, Sid, you also work with current female athletes on media training, how to speak, how to be, how to present yourself as an athlete when you have eyeballs, which again, we don't have that in associate nations as of yet, at least from a UAE perspective. No one is actually physically training you how to speak in front of the camera, how to be in front of the media, because the eyeballs are there, but it's not gotten to that level yet. So I think what you mentioned about education is extremely important. I completely agree with you, because you need to have that plan B, because it doesn't have to necessarily be you having to pick between the two. It could be an injury that sits you out of the game, right? And then you need to have a backup plan of some point, at some point. So I think education, 100%. If you still want to be in the field, I think that what a lot of people don't realize is there are so many women who work in the sporting industry now that you can easily get in touch with to just have a conversation with. B, you have roles within sport, which is not just an operations role. It's not just a sponsorship role. You have so many things that bleed into it, which people have no idea about. I mean, the easiest route when you go into university is you have your science, commerce, arts, and then you can stream from that. But you also have so many universities that offer you sports education, that offer you sports management. And if you're able to at least do diplomas to begin with, just to get a taste of what that's like, and then you do, your bachelor's and then your master's in it, for example, there are so many avenues within the sports industry that you can take up. And even, for example, even if you're really good at, let's say, accounts or math, for example, you can easily get into the stream of managing the finances of a team. That could be something that parents don't think about, because even if your parents say get into accounting, get into science, you can still diversify from that and go into sports. So there's always a means to the end. There's always a way to get there. But I think it's being able to put yourself out there from a networking perspective, which will also be key. Because if you're to yourself, if you're in a bubble, in a shell, and you don't know which way to go, and you don't know how to ask for help, that might be a bit of a struggle.
Yes,
for sure.
And I think you put it pretty well about the plan B. It is not the plan B is not is running away from plan A. It's actually just to keep you sane. And just keeping human a human. I think that's what it's very important to talk about. And when you are talking about so many roles, you missed out on one role, which is very exciting in the sports education world, called data.
Yeah, and, I'm so sorry.
and no, it's good you missed out, so that I can move my focus to somebody who plays with data, because it's very important for people to understand what data brings to the table. We don't want a data analytics masterclass here right now, but at least
I don't think I can provide that, to be honest.
Yeah, but see, Aashu, you've been working in performance analysis, the data analysis, the whole part, which is a decision support system, and how do you read that is very important. And I always tell my students that unfortunately we always have almost 15 to 20% women girls in the class in MBA or BSc course as well. It's very unfortunate. We want that number to go up, but I always say that, okay, what you can do with the data, the sincerity that you can do with the data, I think it's very, very important for you to project the way the sport is played, the way it has been portrayed, and what it means. So how does that career look like? And this is something which will be interesting to understand for girls.
I think for me, at least personally, the approach I took when I, very naturally digressed to data and analytics was, obviously I had the benchmark that I had set as a player. But I also had to utilize that as a proof of concept. And for me, like I remember, right, like working and lived in Australia, I used to work with colleagues that didn't understand the sport and didn't even want to. Like they were just like, listen, this is far too complicated. We don't want to get into the nitty-gritties of it. And small wins, like actually getting them involved and instilling the sport in some capacity, is how it sort of started. But I've also enjoyed number crunching. I've always enjoyed watching the sport from a different angle when it comes to, what's the strategy, what's the mental mantras that you put into, deciding the playing 11. And now, say, with franchise leagues, for example, deciding on a playing 15 with the impact subs and things like that. What are the combinations that you would require on the death overs? How would batter X work, approach bowler Y? And why does that combination work or fail, or could potentially fail or work, rather? And somehow that just, all came together. And I think the resourcefulness started from playing and representing an associate nation, for sure. But it then very naturally digressed to translating that into numbers, because when you've lived there and experienced it in your own capacity, you also want to provide that or give it out in terms of actual facts and figures versus perspective. And there's very thin line between offering perspective and offering preparatory methods as a data analyst. So it's definitely about the latter. And I think I've mentioned this to Nats, right, quite a bit. It's not about the data, it's about what you do with it. And even when and this essentially starts from the get-go, right? What you do with it in the grassroots, what you do with it with under 13s, under 15s, under 18s, under 19s, whatever it is, right? That's where it all starts. And for example, we never had that. I think there are many teams out there that still don't have that. But think about letting, a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old carrying a little book in their kit bag and just having to articulate things that, oh, you know what? This is where I could change. Like, again, you don't have to get into the technicalities of it. It's about, oh, you know what? Today I bowled 3 wides. How can I reduce that tomorrow? Or, the coach mentioned that my run-up wasn't the best. How can I work on that? So that's where numbers come into play, right? And then how you execute it is all up to you.
Yeah. So I think when we're talking about numbers and the careers and everything, it's like let's go back to while you're playing and now little get lighter. It's become too suddenly became too heavy. Let's make it a little lighter.
That's just the kind of person I am. So, sorry.
No. I think that's so. And that Natasha directly mentioned about the face, and you just you said it out. You said in without calling it directly a face.
Yeah.
So
I mean that's our combination, right? That's the combination we bring.
Now I'm talking about a combination. What was the best innings or the spell that actually replays in your mind about the career that you had that plays on and on and on? It's like I still remember that one of the amazing smash that I had against the India number 1 while playing badminton. Right, I still replay. I close my eyes. I still see that. So it's like playing the gully cricket. Under 16 also I was playing at Shivaji Park. I still remember we were the ball boys when the Sachin and Kamli made 580 runs. And our coach took us there. Chala, let's go and I'll show you how these 2 boys are batting for last 2 days. So that's how we took us to see that game at Azad Maidan, and we saw that. These are things that plays in our mind, right? There's something that replays. So what are those moments for you? I'll start with Natasha.
Yeah, please.
2 things come to mind. One was when we play against Nepal, and we were really in the downdrams because we were, I think, about 21 for 3 or 4 or something like that. And we had to we were setting the target, and we knew that there was rain coming in. So we had to get a decent total. The pitch was not a batter's pitch at all. It was very difficult to play. And with women bowling, it tends to get much slower. So you had to really wait for the ball to come down. And I remember coming in and actually getting us to a decent total. And then we ended up winning that game by, it came down to the last over. And because of those 20 odd runs that I contributed with, we ended up winning that point. So that comes to mind because that was a crucial moment for us to qualify for the next round, which was like sort of like the playoffs. And that was the first year we actually won the ICC Women's Asia qualifiers for the T20 World Cup. So that always stays because that was a very emotional moment because now it's like, oh, the next sight ahead is the T20 World Cup, which unfortunately we've never qualified for because after Asia qualifies, you have global and we never went past global, even though we played well. So that's the first one that comes to mind. The second, I think for very selfish reasons, will always be the first century I ever scored when I was playing for Karnataka. Because that was just I didn't even know. It happened and I didn't even know because we didn't have a scoreboard that was showing us the runs. None of that was happening.
Oh, wow.
Suddenly my teammates like, hey, you scored a century. And I was like, what? What's happening? So I think that because I remember I wasn't batting too well and my selection was dependent on this because this was the club games before you got into state. And the senior at that time, because in India you have that senior junior system. So the senior comes up and he's like, if you really want to, make a mark, you have to score a century or score some really, good runs. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I'll do that. And it happened. And then my selection happened after that. So I think those are 2 things that come to mind for me personally. Yeah.
And anything that you feel, oh shit, what did I do?
So many, so many.
One, but not. I'm not talking about the being the top scorer in the score of 9. I'm just asking about anything else.
Okay, Asia Cup, when we played India, I was facing my former teammate Rajeshwari Gaikwad, and we saw each other, we smiled because we know each other's game. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just go with the flow. And I have Smriti at slips. I have Risha Ghosh wicket keeping. So it's already daunting. Like the Indian players are around me. I have to
Yeah.
like play well. I probably played the most stupidest shot of my life, and I got bowled. So my first match against India, I got duck out, and I was like, "What am I doing?" And I remember after the match, because Rajeshwari and I speak to each other in Kannada, so she came up to me, she put her hand around me, she's like, "What was that shot?" And I was like, "I don't. I'm so sorry that like that you have to call me a friend right now." But yeah, that was my oh no, what have I done moment.
Okay, Aashu, you are not saying you're not going to skip this question. You have to answer this.
Well, we were playing against Thailand, and they've come a really long way, right? Like they're an excellent, excellent team. At the time, given we were all associate nations, we were still growing, and we had our match against Thailand, and this is probably a small one in comparison to Nats. But I hit the first ever six for the UAE women's team. And I remember just like, it was a medium pacer. She was like charging in at me, and I swung my bat with everything I had in me. And literally the dugout like got up and clapped like I scored a century, right? And I was like, wait, there's a lot to come, right? And I played a pretty decent innings in that game because, again, I had the reputation of the aggressive opener, middle order, all-rounder, and, everyone around me. And again, Nats can vouch for this. Calm down, listen, just breathe, center yourself, and, it'll just naturally flow. And that was a game where I sort of did that. So, carried the innings to a pretty good total because we barely lost wickets. I had opened the batting and we were like 3 down, scored about 130, 140, which again at the time was really good. And then in the same game, because I was an all-rounder, I bowled a pretty economical spell as well. Like I took 2 wickets, and like I still remember that that game lives in my head like rent free. And it was a great day, great moment to be on the cricket field. We still lost the game, by the way. But that's the thing, right? Cricket doesn't always reward the performance. So yeah, it's what you make out of it. So yeah, that was definitely a special one.
So that gave me two revelations, right? Obviously, Natasha being the first ever captain of UAE women's is first thing, and the first a girl who scored the first ever six for UAE.
Yeah.
So the first is always first. So I think it's amazing to talk to two girls who have who have done something first for the country. Yay!
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yes, Aashu, you do, but still that doesn't take anything away. Where I'm asking to ask you,
of course.
what was the moment? What the heck have I done?
Listen, there were many. Okay,
I want one.
Yeah, I'll try and keep this as short as I can. I think not what the heck, but like something that was a very dark period for me was the injury aspect of it. And I always sort of brought that upon myself because I was like, why were you in the moment that you were where you broke your ankle or you broke your shoulder? And see, that's the thing, right? Like you miss 2 seasons, you become a name in the background, especially, with how UAE cricket was picking up over the years. And I remember calling Nats and just like bawling on the phone because I had my second surgery in Mumbai. And I was just like, listen, I don't want to become one of those that, just disappears quietly in the background. And again, right, like I've worked hard in my own ways to get to where I am. And that definitely took a toll on me physically, mentally. And physically, it's one thing, right? but what it does to your health, what it does to your mental health, it's a whole other conversation. And I think that was definitely a what the heck moment in terms of if I could go back and revert that, I would love to. But again, there are only certain things in your control. So yeah.
Something I want to add there, Sid, is that one thing I'll give Aashu is after that injury scare that she had, like a couple of injury scares that she had, the way I've never seen someone work so hard on their fitness after that with a goal in mind that I want to, just keeping aside that I want to play, but I want to just feel better physically. I've never seen someone work as hard as she has just to come out of that space, because she broke her ankle and then her shoulder as well. Like it was back to back for her. And I was just like, what is happening? And then the fact that she actually, came out of that and, yeah, I think just kudos to her for the way she handled her fitness at that time.
Yeah. And I grew up being a big woman as a teenager. But again, my brother really pushed me when it came to my fitness. And, all in all, from 2016, 2017 up until now, again, fitness at the time was correlated to being a certain size, which is definitely not the case, right? And it's something a lot of people are looking to unlearn right now. But growing up in the era that we did, it was very straightforward. And I was bullied by coaches or, definitely not teammates, some of them. But, most of it was pretty smooth because they were like, see, you bring something else to the table. You have the power, like you're the power hitter. You can still like field and you can make whatever you can out of it. But yeah, that was definitely a revelation moment in my head where I was like, listen, if not for me, I want to do this for my body because I want to show up for the game, right? Like I said, you can never leave the dugout behind, and it's still something that resonates with the two of us. So.
And I think that goes back to the thing we started with, resilience, right? It is
Yeah.
not giving up.
Yeah.
And you don't want to hang up because of something else. You want to go on your own terms, not because somebody asks you to go or something else happens. So I think that's what makes an athlete different, and that's what it is all about. So it's not only about, like, we are talking about we are privileged to be able-bodied athlete. I speak to so many para athletes, and so there's one Paralympian who was dropping her husband at the railway station and came under the same train and lost both the legs and the arm. And then she went on to become one of the leading, I think she got a silver medal at the world pistol shooting after 3 years after that. When husband left her, family left her, nothing. So when we talk about this is what this is what we talk about. And these are the we take everything for us that we have for granted. But when we look at the stories of the para athlete, and I've interviewed almost 20-25 different para athletes from India who had played Olympics and Paralympics, right? Paralympics, Asian, all those things. These are some of the stories that stay with you forever, right? Like it's so sad when we actually see that, okay, the women are getting celebrated in India when sports comes in. PV Sindhu wins the world championship, everybody's talking about it. Next day, Mansi Joshi wins the Paralympic world championship, nobody's talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the thing is, this is how unfortunate part of the thing is. But has that stopped Mansi from doing something better? No, she's doing it just for the vision, for the passion. So, and that's what makes it so different for the athlete. And when I spoke about the story of coming back for yourself, it's not for anything else. You are doing it for yourself to have your identity. And we spoke about the identity at the start, right? So this is how it is. I think I think I don't know how you feel, but I think we can chat for 2-3 more hours just on this story, so that we get something out of it. Probably we'll have to tell the across the line guys to have a web series of this. But just to coming to the last part of whatever we are talking about, right? How do you think that you have built a legacy? You have moved on from that, but you're still associated with a lot of things which are happening. How do you think that people would like you, or you like to be remembered beyond your cricket? And believe me, this is my last serious question.
Something that's always been very close to who I am as a person is that people always remember me for the person I am, not the athlete on the field. Because if a person from my team is not able to come and have a conversation with me, good or bad, then I've done something wrong. I have not kept that channel of communication open. Both starting off as a junior and then eventually becoming a senior player in the squad. If the juniors are not able to just drop in a message to ask about anything, whether that's in life or on the field, then I've done something wrong. So I think I just want to be known as someone who they can reach out to, who's a good person, who's a good listener, and who can offer advice and a route. And not to say that I'll just give you what you want, but at least help you get to where you are through your own hard work. Not the whole Basta route, but more of if I have the connections and I have the network, I will happily make the introductions, but the rest of it is on you. You need to trust that your skills are good enough to take you where you have to go. I'll be there helping you, pushing you, doing that kind of thing. So I want to be known as someone who's helped them and is just a good human being at the end of the day.
Yes. Aashu? Your 2 cents. Beyond being a good human being, your 2 cents.
I think it always starts with being a good human being, right? On or off the field. But I think for me, it's the longevity of the impact. Starting with Nats in 2007, and then I followed in the following year. So definitely that, and similar to what she said, when people look at me, they think I'm intimidating. So, the whole tough on the outside, far more honest on the inside. And that's something I'd always want to offer my peers, right? Irrespective of who I'm playing with, who I'm coaching, who I'm working with. If I can help in any way, I would love to do that. And, always remember that it doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. And these transitions aren't failures, because you've got to keep going. And every time you keep going, it'll help you discover a new version of yourself. And that's pretty much, that's the most rewarding part of all of this. So keeping it short.
Excellent. Excellent. So as I promised, that was the last serious question, and I want to come to some really nice two teammates, 2 of them first in their own areas. Want to have some head on with some rapid fire kind of thing. Let's see how it goes. Sure. And it has to be rapid. Okay, just make sure it is rapid.
Rapid and fiery. That's how we like it.
And I see 2 different, complete different personalities on the screen as well. So okay, so that's why I just want to make sure that we get the right answer.
Yeah.
So. And you're going against each other. Early morning fitness or late night dinners?
Late night
dinners.
Okay.
Are we really going against each other?
So I think you're going on. I think you 2 are going out for late night dinners, while everybody else is training in the morning. Looks like so.
We'll be there. We'll just be really sleepy.
Sleepy. Yeah.
Okay. A favorite cricket movie?
Oh my God. There, see, I was like, I have 3. Lagan in Bollywood. There we go. Death of a Gentleman in Hollywood. And a series that is like a document series that is beyond close to the heart is The Record, which speaks about the Australian women's cricket team and how, like, the chronicles of how they wanted to make sure
rapid fire.
Rapid.
Yeah. Well, the chronicles of how they wanted to make sure they filled the MCG in 2020, and we were a part of that. So, Nats and I watched that game together.
Okay, thank you for the fire. Thank you for the fire. It wasn't rapid at all.
Okay. I'll keep it that simple.
One cricketer you trust with your life.
Virat in men's and Meg Lanning in women's.
Rahul Dravid in men's and Elise Perry in cricket and women's cricket.
I was so close to listing the Mahendra Singh kind of name, but I think it shifted to Rahul Dravid.
Mahendra is like my teenage sensation, but Dravid just has my heart since I was a kid. So I felt right to use his name first.
Yeah, no, I felt good. It's like both ways. Dravid come from my era to the Dravid, and Mahi gives me a different work because of my association with him. So it's good. Okay, I'll give it. It was still rapid. It was still rapid.
Yeah.
Okay. If not cricket, what career?
Fashion or culinary, but fashion first.
I would say something in culinary.
So am I getting some good cakes and something desserts when I meet you both? So it's like a
100%. I love
savory
cooking.
From me. Yeah, savory from me. She can offer you the desserts.
Okay, I'll come in good fashion clothes and I can get some good culinary from both of you. So yeah.
There we go. Happy days. Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Okay. One word that describes the associate nation.
Underestimated.
Oh, that's a great word. Important.
That's a great word.
Okay, nice.
I think they go parallelly, right? So
yeah. Okay, something from the playing days. What is the weirdest place that you have ever played cricket?
I'll let Nats answer this one because I know her answer and I know it's a crazy one.
It'll be funny if not. Okay, funnily enough, although the Sharjah Cricket Stadium is iconic as it is, it always had this smell. Okay, it was, and any player who's walked into that field early in the morning, 6 a.m., that smell hits your brain first thing in the morning. And then
it wakes you up.
Your brain. It wakes you up immediately. But that will always be a very unique place to play cricket because of the smell. Because I can smell it right now. That's how much it's ingrained in my brain.
Okay.
Yeah, for me it was playing cricket in my kitchen with my brother and my dad with a little lunchbox and a ball made out of like rolled foil. Like, so we're just tossing it at each other and
that's not a weirdest place. That's the cutest place.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a family mode. It's a cute place, not a weird place. It's like, but yeah,
I'm pretty cute, Sid.
Okay, I take it. Okay, I take it.
Yeah, this is
great answer.
Okay,
Sid.
what?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite cricketing superstition that you carried?
Never talk about a good score or praise a cricketer during a live game.
Okay.
When a commentator says, "Oh, he's in his 90s," I'm like, "Why did you mention that? Do not
commentator jinx.
The commentator curse. I feel is very
jinx. Yeah.
Commentator's curse. I think even every commentator knows about it. I think, and last back to back they still do it. I think they just get paid to do it. Unfortunately, it's like I feel so bad when you see Suryavanshi missing back-to-back hundreds when everybody's talking about the fastest 300s he missed, but 2 back-to-backs in the who has played that knock, right? So it's like and when you take on about the global the big boss, the global boss, and you're about to break his record. So
yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. So, one full nation team member that you would like to steal for your team?
I'll let Nats go.
Okay, you're giving the captain a chance.
Yeah, always. I have my answer ready. So,
I would say Nat Silverbrand.
That's the all-rounder in her speaking. And now the all-rounder in me speaking, Elise Perry, without any hesitation. She's the GOAT. She will always be, for me at least.
Okay, and then now the last one on this. If Associate Nation Cricket had a Netflix series, what it should be called? And I want a different name than important and underestimated. I want a name for the Netflix series.
The Qualifier?
Work in progress.
Oh, nice. I like both the names. I think it's a different. It's a.
What did you say?
In fact,
what did you say?
In fact, both the names.
Qualifier. The Qualifier.
Qualifier. Okay, nice.
Yeah,
but work in progress.
One sound
very nice.
One sound like one sounds like more of a office series and one sounds like more of a Avengers kind of thing. But yeah, both.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's I think on that both are both means almost the same. It's a work
pretty
in
Yeah.
progress
much.
when you actually qualifying. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 excellent.
Yeah.
So I think this is where I stop my rapid fire, and thank you for keeping it rapid other than a couple of answers that came from Aashu. But yeah, but it was kind of rapid, but yeah, fiery for not for sure. It was kind of fiery. And one thing I really want to know, as now it's my question, it's not anything else. All are my questions, but this is something which now after talking to you two for last 1 hour almost, it's come to be is you both have the roots from India. And played in the different country. How does it feel when you actually play against India in India, or or when you see the India going up on the certain levels on the cricket nation? What goes through your mind?
Oh, it's funny because we were talking about this. It crossed my mind when we were talking about playing for like Asia Cup and stuff. Because you talked about pseudo patriotism as well, right? Where you mentioned about what that feels like. And growing
Yes.
up as a kid in the UAE, and if you look at our team, it compromises of Indian, Sri Lankans, Bangladeshis, Pakistanis. Growing up, we had a
Yeah.
whole mix of them, right? But we'd all be singing the UAE national anthem before any game. And I
Yes.
remember when we played Asia Cup, of course, you have the Indian national anthem playing as well as the UAE national anthem. And we're singing both, right? Because there's that sense of pride for both countries. Because when we're not playing and we're watching the Indian women's team play, for example, you're cheering them on because that's your
Yes.
country by blood, right? And then you have the UAE team. So there's obviously your heart is always split, but I always use this term when it comes to kids who live away from their countries. We're third culture kids. So we have our roots of being Indian, which it'll never go away, but we will always remember at the end of the day that we're representing the UAE. So it's it's a funny feeling because you're feeling patriotic towards both countries because one has given you your life, one has given you who you are as a
Yes.
person, and the other is more your outsider identity because that's the passport you have, and you still
Yes.
feel for
Yes.
that because at the end of the day I'm still getting goosebumps when Dhoni hits that six and we won the World Cup. I still got goosebumps when Dhoni lifted the World Cup in 2007. I still got goosebumps when Virat Kohli lifted the IPL trophy. And it's all associated with, the IPL. I cried when Jemmy took us to the finals defeating Australia. So it's a feeling I don't have a word for. I genuinely don't have a word for.
Very conflicting moment for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'll emphasize that on that later. But yeah, keep going, Nats.
No, that's
I,
that's me.
Yeah. Well, I just want to put it out there. Even though I am Indian heritage, I support the Australian women's team first. Uh, but something I truly, truly, truly believe is that if there's any competition for Australia right now, or say since for the last 2-3 years, it is India. There is no other way to put it. I don't think any other teams come close, despite all the talent in South Africa, New Zealand, England, for that matter. But yeah, like unlike Nats, I haven't competed against anyone from the Indian team. But it always feels surreal, right? Because you grow up watching these players on a screen, and then suddenly you see your teammates on the same field, but they're on the other side. And there's no specific playbook for that feeling. You're just proud of where you've come from, the jersey you're wearing, and that essentially just tells a different story on that given day. And honestly, that's pretty much the story I'd always choose, because representing the UAE wasn't a consolation. It was a calling.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fundamental of Matrabhumi and Karmabhumi, right? So we don't, nobody's asking you to pick one. But it's a feeling. I was more getting associated with the feeling, because finally we athletes are a little weird, right? We go with what is here. This comes later. When the connection happens, when the connection happens, I think the magic happens. But it always starts from here. So that's how it is. So I think it was amazing chatting with both of you, Natasha, Aashu. I think it was. I just loved the conversation, and
thank you so much.
It shows that it has to be. It's very important to stay curious. It's very important to keep building, and it is important that we are building a future generation. We have a role to play in building that thing, and I think that's a purpose that we are all driven by. It plays once an athlete, always an athlete. I think I believe in something called sports as a lifestyle concept. I think that is something that I do take a lot of sessions on those lines. So I truly take these stories together to make it happen, because everybody's achiever, everybody has done something in the moment, whichever country it is. You're wearing the jersey of that country, which is given to you, not bought from the shelf, has a different meaning altogether. And thank you for that. Thank you for spending this time. I know we are all a co-host on this on the show, but it was fun chatting with both of you. And I'm sure the people who tune into this and listening to Beyond the Boundary, which is the Across the Line production, I'm sure the conversation has moved them. And if it has, then just make sure it shifts your perspective in a different way. Do like, share, subscribe, and visit acrosstheline.com for more. And follow host, which is right now me, but and to guest for more and more details, and we would love to bring more stories to you.
Yeah, love it. So, Sid, thank you so much for actually wanting to have a conversation with us and asking us all those amazing questions that put us on the spot as well. No, really appreciate you wanting to do this and getting to know all three of us a bit more better.
Yeah, and thank you for taking the time, and besides getting to know the athlete in us, even the human side of us. So
yes,
thank you.
In the world of AI, we need to have humans.
100%. 100%.
And then a world full of aggregators, P architects.
Yes, P architects. Yes. Perfect. That's one for you, Niki. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, girls. It's amazing chatting with you. Wish you all the best. Have an amazing day ahead.
Great lunch. Have a great lunch.
Yeah.
You too.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Take care. See you. Bye.